Hi, YouTube friends. It's Elizabeth J with an S, and I just wanted to talk about week one um, in our current situation. Yeah, I've been hearing that videos that are talking about things specifically with specific words are not monetized, are being demonetized. Not that I'm monetized, but in the event that that ever happens on my YouTube channel, if someone watches this video, it'd be nice to get a few pennies. Um, Anyway, I wanted to kind of give an update after the first week. In fact, it's not quite been after. It's 3:30 on Friday, and I am going to have a meeting, I think, at some point. Let me just see what time it is before I start shooting this video. Okay, 3:45. I might have to pause the video and then do that meeting and then come back. Anyway, so we started the week on Monday, right into virtual learning. And I have to say, it is really exhausting doing this when you are not prepared. Not that we weren't prepared. If you watched my previous video, obviously we got the kids on Google Classroom and we were practicing Zoom and all of that stuff. So they knew kind of like the basics of what to do. But the actual planning and implementing and finding resources is very, very different than physically being in the classroom. So that is something that I definitely have noticed that is and then also finding my groove, my method. Also took me a couple of days to kind of like get into the swing of things of like when I would mark things, that kind of thing. Because like the first two nights I was like doing schoolwork until 8 o'clock at night, and that's just not me. When I'm in school, I do everything in school. So, I leave usually by 4. Once a week, I stay later than that, and I use all my prep times to do all the things that I need to do so I don't have to carry work home during the week. So it was obviously a bit of a learning curve. Now, there were quite a number of helpful I would say, resources that I had at my disposal. There is, if you're on Facebook and you're a teacher, there is a Facebook group called Educator Temporary School Closure for Online Learning. And so that's a place where you could get some ideas. And then they also have breakout groups. So if you're want to get more specific, like they have things by location, they have things by age, by subject. So then there's also one for the sciences as well, and it's called it's a breakout group under the same heading: Online School Closure Educator Support for Science. So I linked up with those two groups, and I found some useful things that I could use. And also, just spending time researching things. So I have used PhET, interactive simulations, with several of my classes. They're quite good in physics and chemistry, borderline chemistry, not so great in biology. So that, unfortunately, is my main science. So, but I did find some other things that were quite useful. Being able to tweak some simulations, especially for my revision students who are exam candidates. So getting the resources. Something else that I used for the first time was something called Edulastic. And basically, it's a way to create an assessment that you can start and stop on your own like when you want it to stop. So I actually had planned for this week to give my year 10 students an assessment on the eye, and I really just wanted to give it to them and move on, even though we are on virtual learning. So I went on Edulastic and created, it did take a little bit of time to figure it out, but they have quite a number of helpful videos. The types of questions are, the way that you can do the questions are really nice. You can put images in and label the images. They have like drop down bars and all kinds of things. And so then when I was with the class today, I posted the assessment through Google Classroom. They all joined through their school Gmail accounts, started the test. I could actually see their progress as they were doing it. I could see which kids weren't doing it. And then when the class lesson time had finished, I was able to close out the assessment. So anyone who thought they were going to go over the class time was a little bit surprised, although I had warned them ahead of time. Another tool, which I haven't quite used yet, but I think I will, is something called Canva, which I am going to have students create an infographic on different types of drugs and drug awareness. So the idea before school closed was that they were going to be posters, but even if school reopens, I think I'll still use this and then just print everything out and post them up and that kind of thing. So, yeah, so it's just been an interesting learning curve for me and also for the students. Most of them really, really miss school, and it's only been 1 week, and I know that there are other places that are like in week 7 or have just completely stopped doing online learning. But the kids, like, this was like day 3. They're like, we really miss actually being in school. We didn't think we would actually say those words, but seeing someone in a Zoom chat is different than like sitting next to them in class and sharing a joke and, making a face. And I also found it to be very impersonal. It's just, you really engage with the students and, you laugh at their joke and, make fun of whatever. And, as you're doing the class. And so, yeah. I personally do not think I would be a full-time at-home person. I like being at home. I'm a bit of an introvert, but this is now this has invaded my personal space. So it's not like my home is helping me to restore my energy as an introvert. It's like school is now in my personal space. I'm not a fan. So, yeah. So those are just kind of some of the takeaways of week 1 as far as school is concerned. Now, as far as the other issues, we have the exam boards possibly canceling exams, which is now another interesting twist. So now it's like, well, what do we do with the students that we finish the syllabus and we're supposed to have a whole nother term of school, which they're supposed to be sitting exams, and now question mark. So we don't really know if they're going to be canceled, although, things change hourly now. So there's that. And then there's just obviously the emotional stress of just the whole idea that, okay, I'm sitting here at home doing my schoolwork and I don't know if my dad is going to come home from work and then in a few days he's going to end up with, this thing. So, there's that added emotional stress on everybody as well. Because I think the reality of the situation is becoming much more evident to Kenyans. There's some talk of a city lockdown, which I'm just like, please, no. I'm supposed to move on April 1st. We can't have a lockdown. I have to move. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with that. So I think, it's really difficult when you can't control things. Let me just put it that way. My housemate's been great. Obviously, like, I have to be on the internet all day long. And the companies have like upped our speeds, which has been really great. Because like the first day or two, I was like, what is going on with my internet? I mean, obviously I don't use it all day. I'm at school. And I'm streaming, obviously I'm Zooming and I'm on my laptop. And then, she was doing stuff on hers as well. So the internet was getting a little slow. I was having to move to like be actually next to the router. So it was just like, So anyway, but that issue has been mostly dealt with, I would say. Probably not 100% since, people are working from home. Everyone's using the internet who can. Yeah. So I think people are trying as much as possible for this social distancing type of thing that they've been talking about. But, I mean, the reality of Kenya is that people must go out and earn money to feed their families. Anyway, I have to pause. I see that there is a live update on this. So let me pause and I'll get back to you. Okay, so I'm back from the announcement that was being made by the government and the meeting that I needed to have. So, they've just announced a few precautionary measures that they're putting in place. Some of the things I've heard happening in other places, like limiting the number of individuals in the supermarket, how they have to keep things clean. Number of individuals limited in public transport vehicles so that there's distance. The closure of certain locations by 7:30. So it may progress to more things, but they're putting these measures in place. So at least it's not a total lockdown, and as of right now, I can still move. Yay! So anyway, I was talking just about the, what's going on in the country, and so there you have it. I think as the days have progressed, that, people have just kind of gotten a little bit more realistic about the seriousness of, how things are playing out. And the government is finally getting quite serious about ensuring that their mandates are being upheld as far as like self-quarantine and that sort of thing, especially for travelers coming in who have traveled from wherever at this point. So yeah, it's been a challenging week, a tiring week. Just very draining. I want to finish my lesson planning for next week, post everything on Google Classroom, so I can just kind of not think about school over the weekend and just like do my own things and, just that kind of stuff, because I'm just, so that's kind of where I'm at. That's how things are going. Emotionally, I think it's been up and down. I was not excited about having to do virtual learning because I anticipated the fact that it would just be a lot more work. Having to adjust and find the resources. As a science teacher, you do a lot of hands-on things in class. So now it's like hands-on is not happening virtually. It's just kind of not the nature of the system. So just finding alternatives. Now it's a lot of research time is going into that. So so that's one thing. Just that's why I was not really looking forward to it. So then Sunday night, when the announcement was made and it was confirmed that school would be virtual on Monday, I had already prepped for physical school. So now I was scrambling to like figure out what am I going to do on Monday. So I was like constantly playing catch up probably until Wednesday. So that was not ideal. I do not like playing catch up when it comes to my lessons. I like to have everything done a week in advance, so that way when I get into the classroom, I know what I'm doing. If I run out of time, it's okay. If I finish ahead of time, I already know what the next thing is, and so I can just easily continue. So there was that. Then kind of getting a little stir crazy, in the house. I live in a flat, so it's not like I can go out to the garden and just relax outside. So I made it a point to go walking in the mornings, to, take a stroll in the evening. But still, it's not the same thing as just kind of being outside. So there was that bit. And then just like, just the emotional frustration of like, why is this happening? That kind of like just questioning. But, the school week anyway is over. I can kind of get a grip on things and how I want to run things and how I'm going to implement things in my lessons. And so I think I feel like I could have a better perspective once I have some semblance of control over my life. Yeah. So that's kind of my update for week 1 and how things are going. I would love to hear from you and what your situation is, and if you're a teacher, what are some of the really amazing tools that you've discovered or that you use that work out really well. Yeah, so just leave me a comment, subscribe to my channel to find out how week 2 fares, and give me a thumbs up. Have a great weekend.